The champagne bubbles caught the light as I watched my family celebrate my sister Lauren's promotion to regional sales director. The banner read, "Congratulations, Lauren," in gold letters matching her new business cards. "Isn't this exciting?" Mom gushed. "Lauren's the youngest regional director in company history. Corner office, company car, expense account. Everything a parent dreams of." Dad stood beside Lauren's new mahogany desk. They'd brought it for photos, beaming with pride. Lauren posed with her promotion letter while Uncle Mike snapped pictures. "This is what success looks like," Dad announced. "Steady career progression, corporate benefits, security. Real achievement in the real world." I sipped champagne and checked my phone. 3 missed calls from investor relations, 2 texts from Goldman Sachs about tomorrow's IPO filing, and 1 email. "Congratulations on Fortune 500 ranking number 247. Interview requests attached." Wall Street Journal. "Jamie, sweetie, Mom appeared at my elbow. Come meet Lauren's colleagues. They work for Meridian Healthcare, very stable company." She guided me toward conservative suits discussing quarterly reports. Lauren held court, explaining her strategic vision. "This is my other daughter, Jamie," Mom announced with the tone for disappointing relatives. "She's between careers right now." "Between careers?" asked a Navy suit man. "Jamie's been experimenting with entrepreneurial ventures," Lauren explained. "Small business stuff, mostly online." "The gig economy," Navy suit nodded with polite condescension. "Very modern. We keep telling her she should consider something traditional like Lauren's path," Mom added. "What kind of company?" asked a clipboard woman. "Software development," I said simply. "Oh, like apps." Navy suit's tone suggested apps ranked with street mimes on career respectability. Lauren clinked her glass. "I want to thank everyone for being here. This promotion represents 5 years of hard work and commitment to traditional business values." Enthusiastic applause. Dad might have teared up. "I especially want to thank my parents for encouraging me to pursue stability and conventional success. They taught me that real careers are built through established corporate structures, not risky ventures." Every eye briefly glanced my way, the family member who'd chosen risky ventures over Lauren's sensible path. "Lauren's salary is now 6 figures, Mom whispered to Aunt Carol. "Plus bonuses, stock options, full medical. She'll never worry about money." My phone buzzed from our CFO. "Fortune 500 announcement goes live at midnight. Company valuation hit $8.2 billion after close." I typed back, "Approved. Include acquisition pipeline in analyst briefing." "Jamie," Dad approached with love and disappointment, "I've been talking to Lauren's contacts. Meridian might have opportunities for your computer background." "What kind?" "Entry-level positions. IT support, database management. Nothing fancy but steady work with benefits." "Dad, I'm doing fine with my current work. Playing around with websites isn't sustainable long-term. You need something solid, something you can build a career on." "Like Lauren has," Mom added, gesturing toward my sister posing with her plaque. My phone rang. "Robert Chin, CEO of TechFlow Dynamics, one of our acquisition targets." "Excuse me," I stepped away. "I need to take this." "Jamie? I just saw the Fortune announcement. Congratulations on 247. Incredible for a 5-year-old company." "Thank you, though I think there's confusion about timing. It's live on Fortune's website. Your profile is trending. Business press is calling it the fastest rise in tech history." I pulled up Fortune's site. There it was, Sinner Tech Solutions, number 247. Founded 2019, revenue $8.2 billion, employees 12,400 globally. "Robert, can I call back? Family event." "Of course. But Jamie? Our board voted. We're accepting your acquisition offer. $340 million as discussed." I stared at my phone showing Synertech prominently on Fortune's homepage with my photo and headline, "Tech Wunderkind Jamie Martinez builds billion-dollar empire from dorm room." Lauren was explaining how her promotion represented everything our parents taught about building careers through traditional channels. The key is understanding that real success comes from established systems, not trying to reinvent the wheel with startup ideas. These young people think they can skip fundamentals and get rich quick with technology schemes, agreed Navy suit. Exactly. My parents always said slow and steady wins the race. Jamie never understood that. I checked the time. 11:47 p.m. 13 minutes until Fortune's announcement hit every business outlet. Dad tapped his glass. Before we wrap up, I want to say how proud we are of Lauren for showing what's possible with conventional business success. And we hope, he glanced at me, Lauren's achievement will inspire other family members to pursue something more stable. To Lauren, Mom raised her glass, and choosing proven paths over risky experiments. Eruption of applause. I checked my phone. 11:59 p.m. Actually, I said, raising my glass, I have an announcement too. The ballroom went quiet. Lauren looked annoyed I was interrupting her moment, while Mom and Dad wore patient concern, probably expecting me to announce pursuing traditional employment. I wanted to thank Lauren for being such an inspiring example. I began, watching my phone tick toward midnight. Her achievement really puts everything in perspective. That's wonderful, honey, Mom beamed. Ready to consider those opportunities Dad mentioned? In a way, yes. But first, I should clarify something about my work situation. Dad nodded encouragingly. Of course. What would you like to clarify? My phone refreshed at exactly midnight. Fortune's homepage featured breaking news. Fortune 500 revealed. Synertech Solutions debuts at number 247. Well, I turned my phone toward the group. My little computer company made the Fortune 500 list tonight. Complete silence except for air conditioning humming. Fortune 500? Navy suit repeated slowly. Position 247, I confirmed, scrolling to show Synertech's profile. Annual revenue $8.2 billion, 12,400 employees worldwide, headquarters in Seattle with offices in 15 countries. Lauren's champagne glass slipped, shattering on marble. 8.2 billion? Dad whispered. Dollars. Though that's gross revenue. Net profit last quarter was about $480 million. Mom sat down heavily. Jamie, what exactly is Synertech Solutions? The software company I started in my dorm room 5 years ago. We develop enterprise automation for Fortune 1000 companies. Fortune 1000 companies? Uncle Mike squeaked. I showed our client roster. Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Boeing, about 340 of the Fortune 500 license our software. Including Meridian Healthcare. I looked at Navy suit whose face went pale. We've been their primary automation vendor for 3 years. Navy suit stared at me. You're the CEO of Synertech Solutions? Founder and CEO, yes. But you said software development. I develop software that automates business processes for major corporations. We've revolutionized enterprise workflow management. Lauren found her voice. But you drive a Honda Civic. I like my Civic. It's reliable and environmentally friendly. You live in a studio apartment. I travel 200 days a year. I don't need much space. Jamie, Dad's hands shook. How is this possible? You never acted like you were running a major corporation. Because I'm not running it for show. I'm running it to build something meaningful. Mom Googled frantically. Synertech Solutions. P.O. Jamie Martinez. Forbes 30 under 30. Time magazine cover. She looked up with wide eyes. You were on Time magazine. Last month. The Automation Revolution feature. We never saw it. You never asked about my work beyond whether I'd found a real job yet. Aunt Carol read over Mom's shoulder. Net worth estimated at $2.8 billion. Youngest self-made billionaire in Pacific Northwest. $2.8 billion? Dad repeated numbly. That's on paper. Most is tied up in company equity. Most of it. Lauren's voice cracked. I have about $40 million liquid for personal expenses. Complete silence except for frantic Googling. Jamie, Navy suit said slowly, when I mentioned IT support at Meridian, you offered me entry-level work at a company that pays us $12 million annually for our automation platform. And when I called your work, gig economy, you were talking about a Fortune 500 company employing more people than some cities. My phone rang. Sarah Williams, Wall Street Journal. Hi, Sarah. Jamie. Congratulations on Fortune ranking. We want an exclusive interview about Synertech's acquisition strategy. Available tomorrow. I looked at stunned faces. Could we do Wednesday? Family matters to address. Of course. The business community is buzzing. This is huge. I hung up and faced my family, who stared like I was an alien impersonating their disappointing daughter. Family matters? Mom asked weakly. Apparently I need to explain why I never applied for that corner office Lauren mentioned. Because you own the company that could buy Lauren's entire corporation, Uncle Mike said, staring at his phone. Something like that. Dad began pacing around Lauren's promotional desk, which suddenly seemed very small. When we asked if you were making money with computers, I said yes. We thought a few thousand here and there. You assumed. I never specified because you never asked details. When we suggested corporate health insurance, I said I had excellent coverage through my company. You assumed some freelancer plan. Mom looked up from my Wikipedia page. You gave Stanford's commencement address last year. I did. And donated $50 million for the Martinez Innovation Fund. I did. $50 million, Jamie. You never mentioned it. You never asked about my charitable giving. Lauren had been quiet, absorbing everything. Jamie, when I said you should get a normal job like mine, you suggested I abandon a Fortune 500 company for entry-level corporate work. When I said you needed to understand conventional business, you lectured a billionaire CEO about business fundamentals. When Mom and Dad said be more like me, they asked me to give up a company worth $8.2 billion for a corner office and company car. The irony settled like a heavy blanket. Lauren's celebration of traditional success over risky ventures had become something else entirely. Jamie, Navy suit approached hesitantly, when I suggested the gig economy. You were talking to someone whose company is reshaping the global economy. Aunt Carol looked up from her phone. This says you're going public next year. We are. Goldman Sachs projects our IPO could value the company at $15 to $20 billion. $20 billion? Dad sat down heavily. Conservative estimate. We're also evaluating acquisitions. What kind? Lauren asked quietly. I showed my acquisition pipeline. Mid-sized companies that would benefit from integration. Healthcare systems, manufacturing, consulting. Companies like Meridian? Navy suit asked with horror. Actually, Meridian is on our Q2 list. We're projecting a $340 million acquisition. Navy suit went white. You're buying my company? Probably. We prefer friendly acquisitions with retention packages. Like Lauren? Mom asked. I looked at my sister, staring at her suddenly small promotion plaque. Regional sales directors are exactly the talent we look for. Proven track record, industry knowledge, client relationships. So Lauren could work for Jamie? Dad asked, brain struggling with role reversal. If she wanted. Though she'd start as senior manager and work up our corporate structure. Work her way up? Lauren repeated faintly. We're Fortune 500. We have rigorous standards for executive positions. Silence as everyone absorbed that Lauren's corner office triumph had become revelation that her younger sister could casually buy her entire company. Are you angry with us? Mom asked carefully. For not understanding. For treating you like you were failing when you were building one of the most successful companies in history. I'm disappointed you never bothered to learn what I was actually building. We thought we were helping, Dad protested. By assuming I was failing? By encouraging stability. I have $2.8 billion net worth. How much more stable do I need? Lauren started laughing. Not happy laughter, but the absurd kind when reality becomes too much. What's funny? Uncle Mike asked. I spent tonight explaining how Jamie needed to be more like me. More corporate, traditional, successful. And turns out I need to be more like Jamie. 3 months later, I stood in Meridian Healthcare's conference room as Lauren signed her Synertech employment contract. The acquisition had closed ahead of schedule. Senior Director of Healthcare Client Relations, Lauren read from her new card. Reporting to VP of Strategic Partnerships. Good position, I assured her. Room for advancement, excellent benefits, projects impacting millions globally. Surreal, she admitted. 6 months ago I was getting promoted and feeling sorry for your career prospects. And now I work for your Fortune 500 company and feel grateful you hired me despite everything I said. We walked through offices, Now Synertech's Pacific Northwest Healthcare Division. Observing integration. Former Meridian employees adapted well, especially after seeing new compensation packages. I owe you an apology, Lauren said. Not for what I said but what I assumed. Which was that success has to look conventional to be real. That traditional paths are inherently superior. That building something new was less valuable than climbing someone else's ladder. We stopped at windows overlooking Seattle, where our headquarters dominated the skyline with Synertech Solutions blazing in blue letters. Your success is real too, I said. You built something meaningful. That's why we acquired the company and retained you. But I acted like yours wasn't real because it didn't fit my definition. And I let you because I didn't need validation to know what I was building. Is that why you never corrected us? Partly. But mostly because I wanted to see if family loved me for who I am, not what I'd achieved. And what did you discover? That you loved a version of me that didn't exist. The struggling entrepreneur who needed career advice. We never got to know the real you. No, you didn't. Can we try again? I showed her our quarterly dashboard. Synertech's Q4 numbers. We're projected to hit $12 billion revenue this year. $12 billion, Lauren shook her head amazed. And we're announcing 3 acquisitions next week. My phone buzzed with IPO notification. SEC filing submitted. Goldman Sachs projecting $25 billion valuation. Lauren, I showed her the notification. Next month Synertech goes public. What does that mean? My net worth will probably hit $15 billion, making me the youngest self-made billionaire in U.S. history. $15 billion, she repeated softly. Give or take depending on market conditions. What would have happened if we'd known from the beginning? If we'd supported your startup? Maybe I would have been more open. Maybe you would have understood what I was building. Would it have changed anything? Our relationship. Instead of assuming I needed career advice, you might have asked for mine. The irony isn't lost on me. What irony? All those years trying to teach you about business success and you were becoming more successful than I could imagine. Success isn't competition, Lauren. I spent 5 years competing with someone playing a completely different game. And now I'm grateful to be on your team instead of wondering why you wouldn't join mine. My phone rang. Hi, Mom. Jamie, I saw the IPO announcement. Are you really going to be worth $15 billion? Approximately, yes. And you're still coming to Sunday dinner? Of course. Why wouldn't I? Because you're about to become one of the richest people in America, and we spent 5 years telling you to get a normal job. I'm still the same person. Just the same person who owns a Fortune 500 company. Will you bring Lauren? I'll bring Lauren. And Mom? Next time, maybe ask about my work before assuming I need career advice. Deal. Though I have a feeling we'll be asking you for advice from now on. That sounds about right.